I forgot to hit record. Okay. That way I can send you guys the recording. So that's really all the information that I'm going off of. So everything else, you're asking way too much. If I can get all that, and I kept it, see how I went real fast. I'm just like, hey, Sandy, you just requested this information. I got to gather some basic information so I can start working on your enrollment options. That way I can get them. I always say I can get them over to you, here in just a little bit. It'll be by the end of the day. I used to say, I'll have those over to you. Give me 10, 15 minutes. Now I'm like,
I'm busy.
Yeah. So, and I want to make it look like, I really am shopping all the carriers, which I am with the quoter. And then I'm going right through it, and I'm building rapport with her. I'm trying to get her to loosen up while I'm gathering the information I need, and I'm not taking up a lot of her time. Because then the next time I call, because that was very painless, very quick, she's going to be more prompt to answer. Or if, my God, she couldn't get me off the phone the first time, she's going to avoid me when I call back. Because I kept her on the phone the first time too long. So just kind of keep that in mind. So, all right, who wants to go next? Who wants to give it a swing?
Me.
Okay. Go for it, Miriam. You got this.
Woo. So who am I, the agent or I could be the agent, it's fine.
Yep.
But who is going to be my partner?
I will.
Ryan.
Okay.
Sandy?
Sandy's a client. She's getting the client part down.
I can. The problem is that I can't see you. Hold on.
Here I can see.
There you go.
There
you go.
Okay, you can see her.
Yeah.
Do you want a difficult client or do you want an easy one? Somewhere in between.
Just this time.
Okay.
Just because I'm rusty. But next time you could be more difficult with more objections. I like objections, but I have to be ready for them.
You should be ready. They are in our website.
Right. I listened to this final expense lady who sells final expenses on one carrier actually on YouTube, and she's the queen of objections, like surmounting objections. And I listen to her a lot because I want to hear how you pivot, how you're not taken down by an objection, or we sort of anticipate the objection.
Objections are usually going to come up when you're in your follow-up calls, not your initial one.
I think so. Well,
you don't get many objections on when you're trying to get their information. Usually the only time you're going to get those is, why do you need that?
Right. Before you build a report, it depends on who you're talking to, and the time of the day, and I don't know, where you catch them, where they are. Are they driving? Are they at work? And I'm like, thank you, I've already got it. Or
okay, let's get your rope line in so we can keep her moving.
Let's see. Ring, ring. No.
Hi, this is Sandy.
Hi, Sandy. This is Myriem with the let's do it again. The First Responders Life Insurance Program. Okay.
Whichever one you're doing, if you're doing whatever your niche is, it doesn't have to be a first responder, whatever your niche is. Keep it as real as possible.
Well, that's what I put. Yeah, that's what I'm putting in my ad. So that's what I have to say. Okay. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, is this Sandy?
It is.
Hi, Sandy. This is Myriem with the First Responders Life Insurance Program.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. How'd you get my number?
It looks like you filled out a form requesting some information about life insurance coverage.
Oh, that's right.
Remember doing that?
Yep.
Okay, great. So I just needed to get some information from you to run some quotes for you, if that's okay. Is it okay to have your birthday?
December 8th, 1970.
Okay, perfect. What's your current height and weight?
5 feet, 100 pounds.
Okay, great. Do you have any pre-existing medical conditions like heart disease, heart attack, or any other heart issues,
I do not.
cancer, stroke?
Nope,
Are you diabetic by any chance?
I am not.
Great, that's wonderful. Now, are you on any meds?
I am.
What medications are you taking currently if you?
Just one,
Uh-huh.
XYZ.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Um, so you don't have any medical conditions. Perfect. Are you currently taking any prescription medications for any other medical conditions?
Just the one for
Just
enlarged
that one.
thyroid.
Perfect. Wonderful. Okay. How long have you been diagnosed with that?
2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Mhm.
Perfect. Did you used to take any other medication before that, or this is the first
Nope,
prescription?
first.
Perfect. Wonderful. Okay, so you're taking that just for the thyroid, right? Is that the reason why you're taking that medication?
It is.
Perfect. Okay, that's great. I took note of that. And then, have you undergone any surgeries or medical procedures in the last 3 years?
I have not.
No, that's amazing. Alrighty, so we're doing great. I think you would qualify for an amazing coverage. So I'm gonna run some quotes for you. But before that, I needed to ask you if you were a smoker.
I am not.
Oh, that's great. Okay, that's wonderful. And have you ever been declined for life insurance coverage in the past?
Nope, first time I'm seeking life insurance. I want to make sure I get living benefits.
Oh, that's great. So I'm glad you reached out. And what triggered your curiosity about life insurance right now? Is there like a life event or something that made you think about coverage right now?
A recent death in the family.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, great. So living benefits is a great option right now with life insurance, and I'll be sure to look for options for you that have that kind of coverage.
Thank you.
Um, you're very welcome. Are you currently receiving any disability benefits or unable to work due to health reasons?
I am not.
Okay, great, perfect. Now, one last thing, or maybe not. I'm not going to go through the conviction on the phone, right? Should we? Should I not?
No, especially
No,
so
that's
some
what
of
I
these
thought.
with first responders.
Yeah,
And
they
I'm
don't.
over here like correcting like the numbers and then
Perfect.
thought you were going with the one thing. You kind of started to go down this avenue and then you kind of like your wording kind of shifted a little bit. And I was like, oh, is she like, am I sharing the screen that, oh, there's a giant turkey.
Yeah, the very last question have you ever been convicted for a felony, a DUI, or a DWI? And I
Yeah.
remember you just said that maybe it's not a good idea
Not for
to
first
say the conference
responders, because
call.
you don't ever have to ask a first responder about drug or DUI.
Perfect.
They won't be able to do their job if they have either one of those on their
That's what I
record.
was, yeah, perfect.
It'd actually be very offensive if you ask them.
Right, and I would think that even it would be offensive if you ask that question the first time anyway, because you still haven't built that rapport with the person, so they might not feel very comfortable having that question. I don't know. This is my impression. So, okay, so great, Sandy. Thank you so much for giving me all this information. I'll be sure to plug in all this this medical history, your prescriptions, and I also want to look into live-in benefits for you. I will run all this for you, and I will look into options and then maybe email them to you. And do you prefer email or text?
Email.
Email is perfect. Okay. do you mind, is your email, Sandy, .x@gmail.com?
It is.
Perfect. I'm gonna run some quotes right now and send them your way, and then maybe can we schedule a time where we can discuss options? For you, maybe in a couple of days. Today is Tuesday. Is it okay to call you maybe Thursday? Are you a morning or an afternoon person?
Well, let me review the email first and then we'll go from there.
Okay, sounds great. I will maybe shoot you a text Thursday morning to remind you, or to set up, maybe schedule a time where we can go through over the quotes.
Sounds
Would
good.
that be okay?
Sounds good.
Thank you so much. Wonderful. Very nice meeting you, Sandy. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Take care.
So this is the question. I thought you were going down that rabbit hole. You kind of started to when you're
Uh-huh.
like, and sometimes Jeff, I'll ask that. I'll be like, hey, lastly, Sandy, who did you have in mind when you requested this information? In other words, when you
That's a good
ask,
one.
who is it
Yeah.
that you were trying to make sure has a check in hand? Because I'm getting their
Ye-
and
That's
their
a good
why.
one.
Um,
But you want to get that
Yeah.
at the end or the beginning?
For me, I usually get it at the end.
Yeah,
It
I
depends
guess.
on how the rapport is going, to be honest. Sometimes, like if I'm getting a lot of pushback, um,
Yeah.
if they're asking me, why do you need this information, which that's usually the only objection you get on this part. And then that's an easy rebuttal. Well, because, in order, I can send you rates, but it doesn't make me any sense to send you rates that you're never going to qualify for. So I just need to gather
Yeah.
some basic information, because we work with several different programs. So I got to make sure to see which one you best qualify for. Because you're going to be pretty upset with me if I send you rates for like a 19-year-old elite athlete and you're collecting some disability benefits. Like, you're not going to qualify for that plan. So my rates are going to look great, but they're not going to be real. And I just threw that. That's literally verbatim what I threw out, because if they're working with another agent, that agent might be sending them rates because they didn't qualify them, and their rates may look phenomenal, but you and I both know they're not going to qualify for it if we get all the right information.
Exactly. Yeah, once you plug in all that information, I mean, and also we have to set realistic expectations, because sometimes they would respond to an ad that you don't know, and the ad would say $10 or whatever, $15 or $20, especially for
Oh, yeah.
fun.
I've had a 77-year-old who went off on me and said, your ad said up to $1 million. I'm like, it is up to $1 million.
Up
You are
to, right?
77 years old. Let's be realistic. He was arguing with me. He said it says $1 a day I could get $1 million in coverage. I said, sir, this is where the attention to detail comes into place. This says up to
Mhm.
$1, up to $1 million for as low as $1 a day. And
Dependent.
that is very accurate for someone who is much younger than you. You are 77 years old. You do not even qualify for this plan, which is why it also had age parameters. I'm not sure how you even saw this plan. I'm like, because the age
Yeah, couldn't even qualify, yeah, for that kind of plan. Maybe final expense.
Yeah, that guy like went off on me, and he was like, I'm gonna turn you in for false advertising. I'm like, go
Oh,
ahead, sir.
gosh.
You're gonna look really silly, because the wording, and I'm like, I already sent you a screenshot. It says up to $1 million, as low as. Does not say that everybody qualifies for. I said that would just be epic now, wouldn't it? So I
Be
knew
nice.
he wasn't going anywhere. So I'm like, that would just be epic if we could give everybody the same rate. If we ever had a carrier like that, yeah, I wouldn't be able to keep up, but that's just not realistic. And he got mad, and he eventually hung up on me, which was fun.
And was it your ad or some ad where?
It was my ad, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. So it really just depends on how the conversation's going. And some of mine, like if the one that has like, my one ad it asks for who their beneficiary is. My first responder does ask like, who's your beneficiary? And because a lot of you don't even know what a beneficiary is,
Exactly, yeah.
it says, because sometimes people fill that out and they put self. And every time I see that, I'm like, so when you die, you want yourself. But it's because they don't know. They probably think the question means who are we trying to cover. So
Mhm.
So if I feel like they're a little grouchy in the beginning, because some of these, you know, they are, and it's because they just worked a really long shift or had a really bad, you know, shift. You know, if Sandy's being grouchy with me and be like, hey, Sandy, this is Misty with the first responder life insurance. You know, you requested information on it. Looks like you were trying to set this up for your kids and your grandkids. If something happened to you, you wanted to make sure they were financially protected. Like I roll that right out. If
Good.
I thought
Yeah, that's good
she
to.
answered and is like, what do you need?
I
throw
know.
it right out quick. So then I would not ask that question again at the end, because I already know. So it just depends on what your ad says too, because some people do, it has their beneficiary, and so that's why I didn't have it on there, but. You kind of started to go down that rabbit hole, and I'm like, oh, look, she's gonna ask that, and that is a good one, because you want that, because that brings the emotional side. That reminds them why they were looking at this. To begin with. So you did really good.
Yeah, for my first, it's okay. Of course, I'm still rusty, and I'm going through my hot flashes and all of that beautiful stuff that I can
Those are
understand.
fun. Yep, got to experience all that. That's good time. That's a party everybody should just not get an invite to. So, the one thing I will say is until Sandy threw out that she said for her thyroid, when you asked her, you didn't drill down originally what her prescription was for. When she said I was on
Yes.
Y and Z, but she
Yeah.
figured out later, so.
Yeah, exactly. Later, I remembered, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, what was that for, and how long has it been that you've been taking that medication? And was there any other medication before? And she was very easy. And Sandy, thank you for being kind to me. Oh my gosh, you were an easy client.
I've had some doozies.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's what these trainings are about. Get the uncomfortable out of the way so that when
Yeah.
you get those doozies, that you're like, dude, I've been through this. Like, Sandy already put me through the ringer. You're nothing.
Mhm.
You know, that's kind of what I always say. Just get the uncomfortable out on this. That way, when you're on the phone with the clients, you're going to feel confident with coming back with rebuttals. You're going to feel confident with coming back with, my intro, all that kind of stuff. So, all right, Sandy, you're up. Save the best for last. She got to be the client 3 times. Who wants to ask her? Who wants to be her patient? Who wants to be either an easy one? Mary,
could
looks like
be-
you're trying to stay awake. Joy, why don't you be her? You'll be her client.
I'll be the
I
client.
could be.
Ring,
All right.
ring.
Hello.
Hi, is this Joy?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Joy. It's
Hi.
Sandy from the First Responders Program. You
Hey.
requested information on life insurance.
Yes, ma'am.
How is, I wanted to get some information and, tongue tied. And then, put you through, oh my goodness.
We started over.
All right, start over. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, is this Joy?
Yes.
Hi, it's Sandy from the First Responders Program. How's it going?
Pretty good. And you?
Good. I wanted to get some information and then we can go over, some of your qualifications.
Sure. Can we make this quick? I'm in a bit of a hurry.
Absolutely. I just need to grab some information and, I'll email you your, quote. Does that work for you?
Works with me?
Awesome. Have you ever had cancer or a stroke?
Yes.
Cancer?
Yes.
How long?
It's been 8 years.
And you cancer free?
Yes.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
And your stroke?
No.
Nope. How about, any heart issues?
No.
Diabetes?
No.
I just need to get your height and weight and we're all set. And your birthday.
5'2", 169. Birthday 11/8/1981.
Awesome.
Any other questions?
One last question. I just want to ask you, who did you have in mind when you wanted to get this protection in place?
Oh, my daughter,
Awesome.
Mhm.
Awesome.
What's her name?
Isabella.
Isabella, alrighty. That is awesome. I will send you the quote over.
All right. Sounds great.
And your email is xyz@gmail.com.
That's correct.
Awesome. I hope you have a wonderful day and I will email this right over. I'll send you a text just to let you know I emailed it.
Great. Thanks.
Thanks, Joy. Have a beautiful day.
You too.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
So yours is really good, just that intro, that initial part. You just gotta work on that first. You gotta get the, hey, this is Sandy with the first responders
That
part.
is like, I get tongue tied in that spot every single time.
I know.
So I was like, just
Got
turn
it.
over. Yeah, just walk around practicing. I'm telling you, Diane, like probably still Loki. Is it Loki or Lodi?
Loki,
Loki. I was like, okay.
the Norse, the mischievous god,
I'm
Norse
like,
god, whatever.
I told her the same thing last week. I'm like, just walk around practicing, say, talking to yourself all day, look like you're, having your own little conversation out loud with yourself all day. You'll be fine. So just, yeah, just keep practicing that part till you get, good with it. When it comes to cancer, you always want to ask, when was your last treatment?
Okay.
Because sometimes they're cancer free, but they still kind of like have some treatment courses for preventative. And most carriers go from the last treatment date. So just ask them.
Oh, okay. Not from the first diagnosis, but the last treatment date. That's where we start counting that 5-year or 2-year window, depending on the carriers.
Yep. So they could be cancer free for 12 years. Like I had a lady tell me she's cancer free for 14 years, but she's only been off treatments for 11. That's a 3-year difference.
Oh,
Um,
that's good to know.
Yep, she was going in and they had her on a prescription for preventative because that preventative medicine is gonna come up on their MIB, and so it's gonna
That's
still
treatment.
show that they're being treated for cancer.
Yeah.
So that's one we gotta ask, and that's not something, I don't think we've trained over that, so you wouldn't have known to ask that. So now you do.
Yeah.
So those are good. Work, just kind of get familiar with these questions.
Yeah.
To where they should just flow, like how,
Yeah.
they just flow.
Yeah.
And it should be comfortable like that, just flow. Be
Yeah,
quick, just keep it going, try to build the rapport at the same time. I loved how Joy was like, hey, I'm busy, can we make this quick?
Yeah.
I don't ever ask, is it okay that I get this information? It was okay the minute they answered that phone for me, is what I assume. Because that little bit of time asking is more time than we just took. So like for me, when someone's like, can we make this quick? Absolutely, I'm gonna make this as painless as you can. What's your birthday? How
Yeah.
tall are you? Perfect, thank you for that. Any history, heart, stroke, cancer, diabetic by chance? Nope, great, awesome. You smoker by chance? Nope, perfect, awesome. How tall are you? On an average day, how much you roughly weigh? Awesome. Give me a few minutes, I'm gonna work on this. I will shoot you over an email once I've sent your options, and then I'll shoot you a text letting you know I've sent the email. Then I would do like Sandy, is this the best email to send those over to? Just wanna make sure I don't have any typos,
Yep.
but your wife didn't put down her email, that she's, gonna have you sleeping with one eye open. Glad to know you took this out, you were aware of this, something to kind of make them laugh. Awesome.
Yeah.
Go drive safe, cause I don't have you covered yet. Cause usually when they're like that, they're driving, they'll be like, I'm driving. And I'm always like, "You
Okay.
answered the phone." Like, that's always my thought, you answered the phone, which by the way, guys, if they answer the phone, they can talk. If they couldn't, they wouldn't answer the phone.
Right.
That's just an excuse to get you off the phone. And we have a couple trainings on those where, literally people have told me that. And then on those training calls, I can't get off the phone with them because
I know,
mentioned it
right?
right when I went into that qualifying. So,
And most cars have a Bluetooth right now.
yeah, so just remember, if they answered the phone, that is just an excuse they are getting you to get off the phone. They have time to
Right.
talk. But make it quick because they don't want to talk. That's what they're literally telling you. That's the code. You're an interpreter, that's the interpretation. They have time to talk, they just don't want to talk. And I do it all the time, so that's how I know. And I think I chuckle every time. I'm like, those people are probably like, why did she answer the phone? Because I thought you were somebody else. Literally. And just keep it moving. Once you keep it moving and then work on their options, and then make sure when you send their options that you shoot them a text as well and include your email in the text in case it does go to spam. Because sometimes it will go to spam. So if you include that and it does go to spam, they can look for it. They can also, if they lose your email, say, because these are first responders, sometimes they get busy and they might not look at your email till 3 or 4 days later and they're like, what the heck was that person's email? You know, and they're going to look for it when you're sending 2 or 3 days later that follow-up that says, hey, this is Sandy, just checking back to see which plan you chose so I can get you enrolled.
Mm,
And they're like, shoot, I didn't look at that email, and they're scrambling
Mm.
through their text from Sandy's, where if the very next first text right above says, hey, I just sent your options, and my email was, they're going in their search and looking for her email with it. So
Mm.
it's easier and it's killing 2 birds in 1 stone. In other words, you're gonna get, can you resend me that? And then you're going and looking for their email in your pile, so it's killing 2 birds in 1 stone for you. I want to go over some objections though too, like now they've got their options, they've had a chance to look over them. You know, it's the 2 days later, you're calling to try to go over the options with them. You know, Sandy, I'm gonna use you because you've been on the phone for a little, you know, a minute, so you've had some objections, I'm sure, so you kind of know some that you can throw out. Because I like to keep my role plays as real as we can be, because it doesn't do me or you any favors if we sugarcoat stuff. So don't be afraid, you can come as hard as you want at me. So I'm coming back to Sandy and I'm like, okay, Sandy, this is Misty. Hey, so did you have a chance to look over those options?
I did. I thought it was a little high.
A little high as in like the coverage amount or the cost of the coverage?
The premium amount, the monthly premium. It
Okay,
was a little bit, is out of our budget.
which plan were you looking at?
The $100 one, I want to know if we can get like a $40 to $60.
Okay, so you're
Mhm.
trying to stay in the $40 to $60 range.
Yep.
Okay. So yep, Sandy, just so you know, everything I sent you, it's all, you know, we work with tons of carriers, so nothing's set in stone. I can definitely go back and I can try to find you some in the $40 to $60 range. And
Mhm.
sorry, I probably should have asked you if you had a budget in mind when we were doing your, going over all your stuff, so. You know, that's perfectly fine. I'll go back and I'll work on these today. But just so you do know, like, I will have to lower the coverage amount,
Or-
obviously.
yeah.
So I just wanna keep it realistic with you, cause the rates I sent you, believe it or not, those are the lowest rates that you're, you know, based on your medical condition. Cause I ran you through about 40 different carriers to get those, so, but yep, I will go back and I will run you through. So let me drop the coverage amount a little bit, and actually, you know what, I can actually do that while I'm right through on you. Let me
Mhm.
put it in. And if you haven't seen this yet, I believe. Yes, so Sandy just told me, am I still sharing my screen? I don't know which screen, is it on the quoter? Is that what you guys see? Yep, okay.
Yeah, stupid question. We're logging in, your credentials.
Mhm.
Eventually, we're gonna get our own. Okay,
Yep, eventually everyone will get their own, it's just,
okay,
it costs them every time they have to set that up, so since we have a lot of new people, they wanna obviously make sure everyone works out before they spend money to set that up for someone who might only be here a couple weeks.
got it.
So if I have somebody who's wanting to work on, and she's telling me this is my budget. I now know Sandy wants to spend $60 a month. How much coverage can I get Sandy for $60 a month? So I can go to GTL. And I'm like, okay, Sandy, like if she qualified for this one. So if I took you down to $600 a month, or 600, I get you 600,000 for 60 a month. You just told me that was comfortable. So she
And
better
that's
not
the
give me
term?
an objection. So yeah,
That's a term policy?
yep, so that's a term, that's gonna be a 20-year term.
Yeah.
Has guaranteed insurability at the end, meaning you won't have to qualify again. At the end of the 20 years, God willing, if you outlive it, and I hope you do, because I hate putting in claims. But you know, if you pass away in the 20 years, yep, somebody's getting a check for $644,000. If you, God willing, outlive it, then we're gonna have to put you in a new plan. But the good thing is, we don't have to qualify health-wise. It's got guaranteed insurability. Meaning your rate's gonna change, you know, your rate's gonna go up to your age at that time, so you're gonna be 64 based on the person whose age I have in here. So, which is fine, because honestly, at age 64, your needs are gonna change too. Your mortgage is probably gonna be paid off, your kids are gonna be grown. So you probably don't need 600,000 in coverage. So at that time, you may just want a final expense plan to, you know, an immediate need. So we can readdress what issues you're gonna need 20 years down the road, because we don't know. And that's how I would address that one.
Okay. Versus like a whole life that's gonna build cash, value that's gonna pay for itself in 20 years.
Yep,
but it's gonna be, what is it, 66% more? Is a whole life? More or
Whole
less,
life costs about 3 times more than term.
okay,
So this is where it's like, you gotta really know your audience, who you're talking to, cause if I'm talking to somebody who's older,
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm talking to someone like Kevin's age, or, anybody really who's like 60 and above, I always tell them, and we kind of went over this Monday on the training when Linda asked about the 70-year-old. I'm putting them in a 10-year term. We're like, is that really the best thing to put them in? Yeah, they can get, but like to Mark's, point, if they're healthy enough to qualify for a term at age 70, they're probably healthy enough that they're gonna outlive that 10-year term. And then at age 80, they gotta get in a whole life anyhow. But if you play around with this quoting tool and you look at, if we go to final expense, and you look at the difference in somebody who is age, I'm so bad with birthdays and age.
60, I guess. They would be 63 if they're born in 1960.
1960.
They would be 63.
So if I take somebody who is, say, 1964, let's just say 63. If I take somebody who's just 61, and I want to put them on a $30,000 whole life right now,
Mm-hmm.
at age 61, it's the lowest one is like $96 a month.
Yeah.
I go up just 7 years. What, 54? You have to age 70 now. Just 7 years later,
Yeah.
it
Oh,
is $55 more.
Mm-hmm.
It's, that is a
It
huge
depends on the
difference.
face value.
And we
and
don't know
how
what
much are we
inflation's gonna be
covering.
like 7 years down the road. If it's going at the rate this is, that person's already on a fixed income at this point.
Mm-hmm.
They're not gonna be able to afford to get into another plan, so you're not doing them any favors putting them in that 10-year term where they can get more. That's where you gotta have that confidence and earn their trust as well, because yeah, this is what they want, but they're gonna trust you a lot better and appreciate that you're pointed that out, because a lot of people don't even know to think that.
Mm-hmm.
Where I would be like, Miriam, if you really want 100,000 term, I will put you in that. But for me, as your advisor, I am more comfortable putting you in this, because
Yeah.
that 100,000 term insurance is the cheapest insurance you can get when you're in your 20s and your 30s. It's the best one out there. Term insurance is actually the most expensive insurance on the market, though, because if you outlive it, you just donated all that money to the carrier. So that was pretty expensive. Where this is building a cash value. Yeah, it's not giving you the 100,000, but it's building a cash value. And this isn't a will it pay out plan. This is a when will it pay out plan. This is, we know someday, unless you're that miracle woman, someday you are going to pass away. And when you do, somebody is getting a check in hand. With the other one, it's a gamble. They may get a check in hand, or the insurance company may have just made a lot of money off you. And I don't feel, even though I'm in the industry, I don't feel comfortable putting your money at risk. When you're coming to me saying, this is important to me to make sure my family has this. To me, I feel more confident telling you that this is the better plan for you, because I know long-term coverage, because you and I can both agree, we're not gonna get any healthier the older we get, right?
Yeah.
Remember when we were young and everyone said, eat that while you can, enjoy it while you can, and you were like, yeah, that's you, not me. Yeah, I was that girl too. And then I realized those people had no reason to lie to me. It catches up with all of us. And usually they'll chuckle when you say that and be like, oh, because look, we were all kids and we all heard that. You will gain their trust so much better. And I can tell you, I never have full life policies lapse ever, because they know that's a permanent plan. They know the older it gets. And then sometimes I will even tell them, I'll be like, look, if I put you in this plan, I can't tell you what your rate for that term plan will be that far down. And at age 80, all term, no term will cover you past age 80. Even if you're in a 20-year term and you're only 6 years into it, at age 80, you're getting dropped. They will not cover you anymore. That's why, like Mutual of Omaha, when you're in there, is like, as you get older, it would only let you select the 10 or 15 year, Because, and if you were within 10 years, it was only gonna let you select 10 years. You couldn't even select 15 because they know they're dropping you at age 80. So at age 80, you don't want to come to me try to replace a plan. And that's when you're gonna need, if you're still living at age 80, that's when you need this coverage more than you need it now. It
Mhm.
doesn't make sense for you to wait till age 80 either, because I have some of those. You have two options and they're very expensive. For you to get 25,000, it's probably gonna cost you 300,000 at that time. And you're not gonna be able to afford that then, right? On a fixed income, how comfortable are you gonna feel about paying that? And even if then, I would probably tell you, I think we should invest that money. You're gonna, you know, you'll gain their trust if you tell them those little nuggets and you're just being honest with them. Because a lot of other new agents who have no experience and who are just trying to get a sale, they may
Mm.
give them exactly what they want, that 100,000. They may try to qualify them. And what they're gonna do is, if they qualify, yep, they'll get it. But then somebody else who's more seasoned and has, a better, if they start shopping around again, and they come across someone like me, and then they're canceling yours and going with the one I told them to go with. Because I explained why, I explained the benefits, I explained the downfalls. So it's just learning those little things that will keep your stuff on the books too.
I like how you say, because I literally had I think she was 68 and she hell bent on a term policy. And I used your verbiage. And I said, I understand you're healthy now. That means probably you're going to outlive this policy in 10 years. So you're going to come to me in 10 years and you're really going to be mad at me because I'm going to tell you, I don't have a plan to put you in. And
Yeah.
then what are you going to do? You paid all this money and you have nothing versus let me put you in a whole life policy. Yes, it costs a little more, but you have that cash value and you are as healthy as you are. Wouldn't you want to take the cash value out, go on a fabulous vacation with your grandkids, go do whatever you want and know that in Florida, it goes to 120, not 100. So again, using your verbiage and I could not squeeze her into an amount because she was in a term policy that kept going up every year. And she wanted another term policy that was lower. And I said, I'm sorry. I said, I will do it if you want me to, but you're really gonna be mad at me. So, and
Yeah.
she appreciated that. So she's one of the ones I would love to call back when we get the Baltimore.
Yeah, yep, and Baltimore Life too, that's the one that they get the $1,000 the minute that they die, the family gets a voucher emailed to them within 24 hours of submitting that death claim that they can take to any bank or cash advance facility. They'll give them $1,000 so they can get the body released, so the family's not burdened with having to pay to get the body released to the funeral home, because people don't know that, that body goes to the morgue and then you have to pay the morgue to get it sent to the funeral home. That's money the family has to pay out of pocket. And then usually the funeral home will ask, the family about life insurance. I know when we were doing my grandma's, they were calling the insurance company for my grandpa, finding out how much coverage she had. So we knew while we were planning her funeral, and I was literally watching my aunt say she wanted to spend a fortune on flowers. My other aunt is like, that's silly. These are flowers. They're gonna be literally on display for like a day. We're not spending $1,000 on flowers. It is silly the things people argue at the funeral homes.
Mhm.
And it can get expensive real fast. Like they now have like little encryptions you can put in the casket. You can rent caskets. You can buy caskets. I come from, my grandma had 11 kids. So you put 11 kids who all lost their mom in a room and all have their own opinion on how her funeral should be, plus her husband. And then 30 some grandkids, it gets real ugly real fast.
Mhm.
I'm like, I'm not a drinker, but I was like, where's the local bar?
Where's the wine?
Literally, I walked out with my cousin and I was like, where's the local bar? Like, where's the closest bar? I can't do this right now. I just got off a plane to come to this shit show, literally was what it was.
But Baltimore has a funeral concierge, I think is what they called it.
Concierge, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And theirs is the one too, at age 100, most whole lives end at age 100. Theirs, the client stops paying at age 100. But if they live to age 106, 105, however, it's paying out still. The policy is still active until they die, but they don't pay after age 100. I was like,
But it's
I don't
that
know any other
concierge,
whole life that does that.
The funeral concierge.
that Sequoia, I think it's called Sequoia Concierge something that, you know, I went through this and I forgot it. Of course, that was like 3 weeks ago. But when I compared it to, is it general life insurance or another final expense one, it came up really, really too expensive because it pays for that concierge service. They do a lot of things for you.
So
Right?
not one of our carriers.
It is, I'm gonna go back to my note.
Baltimore Life usually comes in the lower for whole life.
Whichever the one that has that Sequoia funeral concierge, it comes
Be
up a
Baltimore.
bit more expensive, and I have to go to my notes and I don't know how to get to out of
I don't
this.
know Sequoia. I don't know what that is.
It's a concierge funeral service that runs certain, you know, services for you. Instead of the family doing that, they would do that, but then that's what you pay for in the premium, I guess. It's embedded in the included in the.
One of our carriers?
Yeah. I've just done it maybe 3 weeks ago and I forgot which one it was. That's why I write down everything, but I don't know how to get out of here and go to my, without losing this. I'm gonna go to my notes, my Excel.
Yeah, because usually Baltimore Life is like, they're one of the lowest priced ones.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like I'm the spokesperson for them right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a list, like we had, that has all the details, like a cheat sheet.
No, I have not had time to kind of work on that yet, because I'm in the field producing too, so I'm doing all my calls and follow-ups as well. So no, I have not had time to do any of that.
Make this smaller so I can get out and go to my.
Yeah, I don't know which one you're talking about, Miriam. That has to be one we haven't trained on yet, but that's not Baltimore Life, because their rates are not higher. Their rates
It could
usually
be
be,
Lafayette or Fayette.
um,
Santi, do you have that sheet that I sent you handy? I don't remember if I had it.
I don't, it's, I don't wanna mess anything up on the
No,
laptop.
I don't want to lose the Zoom by looking for it, but I'll look for it after and I'll send you the information, all of you,
okay.
because yeah, that it's important for me to remember which one was had the Sequoia funeral concierge service, and that made it a bit more expensive. It's like factored in.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Are you looking for the Sequoia thing? Yeah.
Heritage Life came up, GTL, Guaranteed Trust Life, that they have Sequoia Funeral
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
there you go.
Guaranteed Trust.
Yeah, Wellable, exactly.
yeah, this is your guaranteed issue, that's why, so yeah, they're gonna be more expensive because they're guaranteed,
Because they're guaranteed, not because of the concierge service?
no, anytime you're working with
Okay.
a carrier that does guaranteed issues,
Guaranteed,
their
of
prices
course.
are always gonna be much higher because they're taking the people no one else will take.
Exactly. And yeah, exactly. And
But even then, like this guy here, he got 25,000 with me, and his rate for this one, which he actually came in, he wasn't the guaranteed issue. Um, it was level, but he got 25,000, and I think it was 148 a month, and his Mutual of Omaha. Because then I got nervous because he also has a $20,000 graded Mutual of Omaha with me that he's paying 167, so he's paying more. And it's graded and this one isn't, and I'm like, I don't want him to see that until we're past his year mark for Mutual of Omaha, because if he cancels it, I'm gonna have a chargeback with him.
mm, Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, but yeah, no, anytime you have a guaranteed, just like AIG over when we had
Yeah.
elementary, their rates were always higher, but it's because they're guaranteed issue.
Yeah, and you only go there when you can't insure them anywhere else.
Right,
That's what.
yeah, they're always gonna be like, see, they don't even pull up as an option here because
Yeah.
we guaranteed issue. Now if I put like, well, plus because I have 50,000, they can't usually go above 25,000.
Yeah, for final expense for sure.
But they're gonna be way down here at the, yeah, like see,
Alright.
Corbridge, that's AIG,
Yeah, exactly.
so they're all the way down here. Well, if you didn't even,
So
Great
which
Western
one?
didn't even
Mutual
pull
of
up this one.
Omaha is up the list.
the Mutual of Omaha used to always be my favorite
Yeah,
whole
Yeah.
life, but no. I think, yeah, Baltimore Life is, but I think Baltimore Life you have to have, I think it's a minimum, it depends on your age, but I think over age 50, I think, I'm pretty sure it's minimum 50,000. Yeah, for the A provide, it's 50,000 minimum.
5 to 69
Yeah,
preferred.
see, your Great Western is, and I provide is Baltimore Life's like not healthy guys. So it's
Yeah.
not guaranteed issue,
That's-
but they're
So
not.
that's not
healthy.
bad.
No,
For 30,000, 103 for 30,000 for that age group.
yeah, so, but that was, and then if we did 50,000, if they were healthy like this. See, now they get I priority. The A priority.
What
Yeah.
is a priority again, please?
So A priority, this is a proprietary one, not every agent has it. This is why it has its own login. And
Uh-huh.
why I say get familiar with how you go to write the app, because if you go into theirs and you try to find their app on this
Uh-huh.
one, like if you go in here to their app, e-apps,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
you're not gonna find the A provide. That's what you can see. I'm like, where is it? Where is it? Because
Yeah.
when they trained us on this, I remembered the guy was like, you can pre-qualify and you only need the last four of their social and it's gonna tell you whether they qualify or they don't. And I was like, this isn't the right thing. I know it's not. Because it's not in here. This is for their regular products. This is gonna be
Great.
like all their other products. That's gonna go for Generation Legacy, I provide, and their single premium. For A priority, because not every carrier, this is why you'll get an email that says, here's your toolkit, even though you got your Baltimore Life. Because you
Uh-huh.
still have to get qualified for A priority. Not everyone gets this. So
And
A priority, if you're
qualified
writing
or
down,
not?
this is for the better rate. So this is kind of like how SBLI was proprietary to Symmetry for that quality.
Yeah.
This is their version of that. So not every carrier and agent has this. We have it because we're under Heartland. So we got access to this. But you have to come in here and then you have to come under software and you have to scroll down till you get to their e-app.
There you go.
I just watched the video on that.
I've
Which,
seen that before and I forgot. It's good to remember these things.
yep, and you got to do this, the pre-app first. So when you do the pre-app, then it gives you. Yeah, it's like, where's this load? It gives you this number. Like if I try to go into the e-app, I can't even do it until I have to have that pre-app number. I can't do
Pre-app
the application until I do
before.
that. Because they're pre-screening. So you always have to, then you have to take this number and go in. And
Just like
these
an
guys are so
illustration.
easy. Yep, and see, yeah, they're doing the MIB poll before you do the application. And see how like
They
my
didn't have a
decisions were
decline.
green. So if they're green, they're getting approved. If it's yellow, it's saying
Mm,
could get approved, may get sent to underwriter, may get declined.
yeah.
If it's red, it won't even let you proceed. When you put that pre-app number in, it's gonna ask, and Mark tried it. It's gonna ask, were you declined on the pre-app? And he answered yes, and it said, do you want to proceed? And he said yes, and it said, stop, you can't proceed. Your client doesn't qualify. And he's like, well, why did I ask if I wanted to proceed?
Why are you asking then?
Yeah. So see, it kind of even gives you like stuff. And they were great because this is the one Jason, this was my lady that had AFib So when I quoted her,
Mm.
she could have gone through Mutual of Omaha, but she probably would have been graded. And she
She's
wanted more
declined.
coverage. So when she came back to me, I was like, yeah, actually, we can get you more. But then Jason fat fingered and hit yes on a qualifying question. And he was like, I
Ooh.
don't know how she's declined. I'm like, that's a glitch, call the carrier. And they were like, no, on question 7, you answered yes, and that needed to be a no. And he's like, what was the question? He was like, that was a me. And he's like, do we need to redo the app? And they're like, no. And they called in today. They did a 3-way call and they accepted an amendment over the phone. I was like, oh my God. Sandy, you've had to do amendments too for us. You know how fun those are, right?
Mhm. So much
Yeah,
fun.
not fun.
So easy. They're like, she'll be approved tomorrow. So, and
Oh,
then
that's
Scott Myers
wonderful.
has heart disease and he's accepted as standard. He wasn't even rated. He got standard rating.
Standard is not bad.
He was turned down by Foresters and Mutual of Omaha both.
Hmm.
He was
Wow.
declined and he got accepted standard here.
Hmm.
So I swear I'm like the spokesperson for these guys now. I'm like, I love Baltimore Life. They're great. They're my new favorite whole life. And they have a trip for Costa Rica, so sell a ton of them so you go to Costa Rica with me.
There you go.
Let's go. My
Mhm.
passport's ready.
Right? Mine too.
Me too. I just have to sell. Oh my gosh.
So yeah, this is my favorite whole life. So this one here should be I gotta go back. I think you have to sell 60,000 or maybe it's 80,000 in the year for them
Oh, really?
to win that trip. It wasn't, out of range. It was up there with some of the other ones that I saw, so that were competitive with like the symmetry ones. So I was like, well, that's not bad. I heard Costa Rica was pretty good. So anything else you girls want to go over tonight?
No, that
Just,
was great.
links. But we'll get that.
Yeah, yep. Get your links and as they come in, like I said, just get in there and really get familiar with them. Know how to get in there and go. Make sure you know when you go to do GTL, share my screen again. When it comes to GTL, if you read our training protocol, if you come under product training and scroll all the way down past the videos. And when you get to like the GTL Turbo,
Yeah.
here's the questions your clients have to answer. This is their signature.
Yeah.
So it's not like they don't send an email, they don't send a text for them to sign. You type their name in, you type your name in, and then they do this call, which here's the number 2. Because it is easy to overlook, because I overlooked it on the first application and I was like, yep, you're approved. Showed the guy got the email, I got the email. And then 2 days later, they're like, hey, you have to finish your app. I'm like,
Oh,
what do you mean he's approved?
uh-huh.
You already approved him. What do you mean? What do I gotta finish? And we had to call. And they're like, you gotta do the phone interview part yet. I'm like, where's that? And then the first time Mark went to go use them, he's like, I can't find the phone interview. He goes, I'm probably staring right at it. I said, you probably are. It's gray and at the top. He goes, oh my God, I am staring right at it. I said,
Oh
I did the
gosh.
same thing. I looked right, had no idea. And then the second one, we saw it and I wondered, I was like, but then we had our training with them the next day. And then it was the next day, the guy said, if you talk at all during that, it will automatically send them to the underwriter to review.
Ugh.
So make sure your questions, like copy and paste, text it to them, email that this is what they have to go and you cannot talk at all. If it picks up any other voice they're getting, because that's why my guy got sent to underwriting. Because he was approved, it said approved, but then it kept asking him the automation, it asked him what plan do you apply for? They have to know it's the turbo term or term life insurance. My guy just kept saying life insurance. Because he doesn't know. They don't know there's different kinds. And they're like, I think you said whole life. And he's like, life insurance. They're like,
Oh
I think you
gosh.
said whole life again. Is that correct? He's like, life insurance. And I'm like, yeah. And Jason's like, turbo term. So, it picked up a different voice. So it automatically sent him to review. I'm like, oh, we flagged our guy. Great. We just flagged 2 clients, one from checking the wrong box and one because we talked. So but those are things, these are the learning pains when you get new carriers. So now we know.
Yeah, they also expect the client to know your agent's name.
Name.
So that too, you have to make sure that
Yep.
they know.
Agent's record or name, yep. So they need to know that the GTL, that they're applying for a turbo term, their name, their birth, last four of their social. I mean, it's all stuff and it went really fast. And then I ask them, do you understand that you're applying for life insurance? And they have to say yes.
Okay.
So,
Oh, gosh.
but that was honestly, it was great. And ours was a cop. So he was like, well, it doesn't get more legit than that. So when we told him, we were honest, we're like, hey, you got flagged because remember when it kept saying your whole life and we're like, and then Jason was like, if it detects any other voice, it automatically flags you. So it detected you. When Jason said, he was like, oh, he chuckled. He's like, okay. He's like, well, just keep me posted. And I'm like, yeah, we know you're going to get approved because you were approved before. So we just got to had to wait for his medical records to be sent in then. So. All
Perfect.
right, well, you guys are all set. As soon as this converts, I'll email you over the video too, so you can kind of go back and watch and just practice that intro, because that's your biggest thing. So,
Yeah, maybe we can get together with Sandy online and practice on each other.
Sounds
Like
good.
finance agent
Yeah.
and is the client. So
all right. Well, I will see you ladies later. Joy, keep me posted.
I
on
have-
yours.
Okay.
Adam said he's looking into yours and Diane's both for Prosperity Sandy, so keep me posted on that. Both
Okay.
of them did get the link and completed it. It's pending at the carrier. Oh, so he said you did get it and it's actually already sent back, so he just didn't update the sheet, so keep me posted.
All right.
All right,
I
bye.
texted him about Reagan AI early this morning and I haven't heard from him. So I'm still waiting. It's okay.
Reagan AI, I think Reagan AI you would have done, because I'm pretty sure that's the one Great Western is through. If you're
I have
Great
Citizens.
Western. Right?
On my sheet, I still have Reagan AI with a question mark. Maybe it's let me see. It's related to a couple. You told me, Sandy.
The Anico,
Yeah.
I have CICA through
What's that?
them and Circon is
Yeah,
all.
which I still don't have, and I guess those are
I
annuities.
don't think
aren't
anyone's
they?
really got sick of in. Yeah.
Those are annuities, right?
Mm-mm. No,
No,
I don't think so.
Allianz, some of the annuity ones you won't get, like Allianz, which I think he did send some people
He
Allianz.
did send Allianz. It's one of the requested ones, but I never got it back. So maybe they're still doing their background check. And Sentinel also is requested.
Yeah, any
but
of the
I haven't
IUL
got-
and annuity ones you probably won't get till you can prove that you're good with term and whole life, because
I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I'm just, giving you the history.
yeah, because there's a lot of compliance, but especially with around annuities, because if you mess somebody's retirement up, they're
Oh
probably.
no, I'm not even gonna try. I'm gonna stay with my term and hold for now
Yeah,
and
term
try
and
to
whole
be
life,
more comfortable.
that's always been my bread and butter.
You know,
Then I got into
you
debt free life
well-
and I was like, this is gonna be great. And then I was like, that was
Nope.
a lot of work for just that. And then my people were like, at the end of the 3 months, because it took so long, they were like, we think we want an IUL now. I'm like,
Oh, really?
went through all this and now you want an IUL? We could have done that from day one. Like, we could
Yeah.
have had that
Now to
approved,
have all
like,
this extra money, yeah.
right. I was like, oh my God, I was so
I'm here.
mad. But you do what your clients want, so. And they had all the money to pre-fund it, they were putting 100,000 to pre-fund theirs up each, so. But because it took so long, they were like, yeah, we did a lot of our research and now we think actually an IUL is a better, I'm like. We brought up an IUL the day that we did that. And they're like, oh, we really want to think this debt-free life thing is done. I'm like, okay, that's a rabbit hole, we'll go down. All
How
right.
do you have 100,000 to pre-fund and are interested in debt-free life? Debt-free life is for people who has debt, who have debt.
It's also the same as infinite banking concept. It's the same thing. Symmetry just markets it as debt-free life. But it's,
Oh,
they very much mislead it. It's because it's not remailing to get people out of debt. Because
right.
if you're paying the bare minimum, they advertise without paying anything more than you pay. The big part they're leaving out is you have to already be overpaying pretty significantly on your bills.
Exactly. Otherwise, we'll never get out of that cycle.
So it's, Yeah, which I mean, you could do that, but it's also the same as the infinite banking concept. So if you pre-fund 100,000, if you put 100,000 in the bank, you're probably gonna earn 1, maybe 2%. If you put it in that plan, you're gonna earn 6%. If you pull money out of it, you're still earning 6% on the money you're pulling out even. You gotta pay it back, but you're paying yourself back the 6%. So
6%, where do you get that? What kind of plan is that?
that's the infinite banking concept. It's advanced market. That's a whole nother training. It's a whole nother rabbit hole.
I'm not there yet, okay.
All right, girls, have a good night. If you need
All
anything,
right,
Thank
thanks so much.
all right, bye guys.
Thank you, guys.